excitement, determination, and a winning attitude. 3 characteristics of the Montana State University football team. A new era of Bobcat football began in 1982 as Doug Graber took over the reins of the winningest program in the history of the Big Sky Conference. The preseason picks had the Bobcats near the bottom of the Big Sky race, but in the end, Montana State fooled the experts and won a share of their 8th Big Sky Conference title. A great deal of anticipation surrounded the Bobcats as they opened the Graber era and the 1982 season. Bobcats open the season on the road in Salt Lake City, Utah against the Division I Utes of the University of Utah. The Cats got off to a rocky start as Carl Monroe, one of the nation's top return specialists, returns the opening kickoff 96 yards for a touchdown in front of nearly 28,000 screaming fans at Rice Stadium. but the Cats battle back as runs like this by senior running back Tony Bodie of Bremerton, Washington, and the leadership of quarterback Barry Sullivan of Butte, Montana on this 2-yard touchdown run allowed Doug Graber's squad to stay close. All Big Sky Conference free safety Jim Anderson gets his first interception of the season, and the Bobcat offense is back in business. An outstanding pass play from Sullivan to Bodie, and a slashing run by senior fullback Cy Timmerman of Butte sets up this memorable touchdown pass from a falling Sullivan to Bodie all alone in the Bobcat end zone as Montana State builds a 12-10 lead over the favorite Utes midway through the third quarter. It was then the Bobcat defense that took over. Senior linebacker Bruce Bull of Oak Harbor, Washington gets his first sack of the season, and the Cat defense swarms the Utah punter in the fourth quarter. Down 16-12 with 4:35 left in the contest, the Utah defense stops Sullivan on this fourth down play, ending the Bobcat hopes as Utah goes on to pick up a season-opening victory. The home opener was next in store for the Bobcats as the Fighting Sioux of North Dakota came to Reno H. Sales Stadium, and much like Utah, North Dakota surprised the Cats with a long touchdown run early in the first quarter to take a 7-0 lead. Billings junior Brian Compton carried the ball only once in the game, but that carry was good for a 31-yard touchdown run on a reverse, and Montana State had tied the game at 7. Down by 6 points in the second quarter, and Barry Sullivan having a tough day at quarterback, Doug Graber decided to make the switch, bringing in junior Mike Godfrey of Eugene, Oregon. Godfrey, who would go on to break nearly every MSU single-season passing record, didn't waste any time as he hit senior wide receiver Pat McLeod on this 50-yard pass. Godfrey comes right back to hit McLeod for another first down. And then after finding no receivers, runs it in from the 1 for his first score of the season. Kicker Mark Carter added the PAT, and the Bobcats had a 14-13 halftime lead. The Bobcat defense makes plays like this to start the second half to give the ball right back to Godfrey and company. Bodie gets 14 on this first down carry. And then Godfrey comes right back with a nifty run of his own for 22 yards. And then it's touchdown time as Godfrey, with a lot of time to throw, finds Tony Bodie all alone for this 26-yard strike as the Bobcats up their lead to 21-13. Following 9 straight North Dakota points, the Bobcats come back strong behind the arm of Godfrey, as after a nifty move, he hits freshman Tommy White for 25 yards. And then Pat McLeod on this 12-yard diving touchdown catch to give the Bobcats the lead once again. Then disaster strikes. A turnover leads to a Sioux touchdown. And the Bobcats' last-ditch drive is stopped short by an interception, leaving the Bobcats 0-2 on the season, and Doug Graber still looking for his first collegiate victory. Week 3 proved to be a big one for the Bobcats as the Eagles of Eastern Washington came to town. Mike Godfrey picked up where he had left off the previous week on the Cats' first possession as he hits Brian Compton on a 45-yard touchdown pass. After Eastern has tied the score at 7, the Bobcats come back as Godfrey hits Bodie on a 21-yard pass play. And then Bodie scores his first of 2 touchdowns on the day with this 6-yard airborne run. Tag on a 35-yard field goal by Mark Carter, and the Bobcats had a 17-7 halftime lead. Bruce Brockman, a sophomore from Spokane, Washington, leads the charge in the second half to give the ball back to the Cat offense. Godfrey then hits sophomore tight end Joe Bignell of Deer Lodge, Montana for 17 yards. Then connects with Cy Timmerman for 30 more as the Bobcat offense is rolling. Then it's Tony Bodie's turn once again as the senior goes in from 9 yards out. Bodie finished the day with 124 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns to go along with his 6 receptions for 72 yards. His efforts earned him his first of 3 Big Sky Conference Player of the Week awards. With a 24-20 lead and the Eagles driving, Longview Washington's Rodney Holland intercepts an Eastern pass to preserve the Bobcat victory, their first of the season and Doug Graber's first of his collegiate head coaching career. With 3 non-conference games under their belt, the University of Nevada, Reno and the Big Sky Conference opener was next for the Bobcats. When the 2 teams met, it was a tenacious Montana State defense that would tell the tale. Bob King, a senior defensive back from Anaconda, Montana, led the Bobcat effort with 14 tackles, 3 quarterback sacks, and 2 pass deflections. King's outstanding efforts earned him the Big Sky Conference Defensive Player of the Week award. King gets help here from Spokane, Washington senior Paul Dilley, as a swarming Bobcat defense kept the Wolfpack confused all day. Mark Eibner, a senior from Apple Valley, Minnesota, also had a great day with 18 tackles, as well as this drive-ending interception. The Bobcat offense then takes over as Mike Godfrey hits Tony Bodie for 25 yards. And Great Falls sophomore Junior Fulp for 11 more. Fulp picks up much of the yardage on his own. Then junior offensive tackle Eric Harlington gets a great block to spring Bodie for a 12-yard gain. Setting up a Godfrey pass to Pat McLeod for 22 yards and a touchdown as the Wolfpack blitz is stymied. With the Cats leading 10-3, Dilley gets his first interception of the season to stop a Reno drive. The score is tied at 10 when Godfrey hits Bodie for 26 yards, a touchdown, and the game-winning score. Interceptions by Skip Morton of Ventura, California. And Jim Anderson preserved the Bobcat victory, their second in a row and first in the Big Sky Conference. The defending national champion Idaho State Bengals were next on the Bobcat hit list as ABC Sports was on hand for a regional television broadcast at Sales Stadium. The Bobcat defense took immediate control as seniors Phil Bruno and Bob Cardos shake up the Bengal defense. Then Jimmy Anderson gets into the act with this interception. But Idaho State gets the ball back and takes the lead on this 21-yard touchdown pass. Bruno, who would go on to earn all Big Sky Conference first-team honors, shows his stuff again on this quarterback sack. Then the drive begins as Timmerman gains 9 yards. And Godfrey hits Tommy White with a 9-yard scoring strike. And after Mark Carter's extra point, the score is tied at 7. After an ISU field goal, the Bobcats are again on the comeback trail as Junior Fulp picks up 8 yards. And then Godfrey hits Timmerman, who puts on an impressive running show after the pass reception. Looking to tie the score, Mark Carter's 44-yard field goal attempt is blocked and returns 77 yards for an Idaho State touchdown, and the Bengals are on top 17-7. The Never Say Die Cats then mount an impressive comeback as Godfrey hits Brian Compton for 9 yards and a touchdown. Wayne DeZubak and Bob Lee of ABC then pick up the action on a big 4th down play.
Both the wide people.
Godfrey looking, he's got a rush now, he's got to get it away.
Oh, great play! Oh!
Then it's Mark Carter's 24-yard field goal that ties the game at 17, and it's on to overtime. Plays like Godfrey's 15-yard touchdown pass to Junior Fulp. An outstanding defensive effort led by senior Bob Cardos sets up a memorable finish in the 3rd overtime.
The kick. He missed it. Good. It's all over. 3 overtimes. Montana State has won it here in Bozeman, Montana. Once again, the final score, Montana State 30, Idaho State 27.
The Bobcats' first conference road test was next as the Cats traveled to Ogden, Utah to tangle with the Weber State College Wildcats. Surprise, the Wildcats opened with the halfback option pass for 41 yards and a touchdown. The Bobcats, who dominated the game from that point on, come back with an 80-yard drive culminated on this 9-yard scoring pass from Godfrey to Joe Bignell. Again on the offense, Godfrey hits Bodie for 34 yards and a touchdown. And on the next drive, comes right back to his favorite receiver, wearing number 20 for the Bobcats, for 33 yards, setting up a 1-yard scoring plunge by Cy Timmerman. A happy Doug Graber after the Bobcats' 23-20 victory, giving the first-year coach and his squad a league-leading 3-0 mark in the Big Sky Conference after their 3rd straight win. A record homecoming crowd packed into Reno 8 Sales Stadium the following week as the Boise State Broncos came to town. The Bobcats got the game's first break as Skip Morton forces a Bronco fumble that is recovered by Mark Eidner. Mike Godfrey then passes 16 yards to Tony Bodie for a first down. To set up the game's first score, a 27-yard field goal by sophomore Mark Carter. Again on the offense, a big 4th down gamble by the Cats pays off as Godfrey hits Pat McLeod for 15 yards and a Bobcat first down. Tony Bodie then scores from 9 yards out, giving MSU a 10-7 lead, a lead they would never relinquish. Freshman linebacker Tex Sikora of Billings, Montana, gets a quarterback sack to give the Cat offense one more shot. The Bobcats strike quickly as Brian Compton picks up 12 on a reverse. And not even the Boise coaches can figure out a way to stop the Bobcat offense. Godfrey then finds Brian Compton for 40 yards as the Billings junior is wide open on the Bobcat sideline. The big pass play sets up a Tony Bodie touchdown, giving Montana State a 17-7 halftime lead, delighting the more than 14,000 fans at Sales Stadium. Boise State's Rodney Webster opens the second half with this greeting from Mark Eidner. Cy Timmerman picks up 26 yards, and the offense is again rolling as Timmerman's run sets up a 35-yard field goal by Mark Carter to put the Bobcats up 20-14. On the next possession, Bruce Bull blocks a Bronco punt, and the Bobcat offense is back in business. Tony Bodie takes the sideline route for 17 yards on this first down carry, setting up a 9-yard scoring strike from Godfrey to former quarterback and now wide receiver Barry Sullivan. The results, a 27-14 Bobcat victory over the nationally ranked Broncos and the top spot in the Big Sky Conference with a 4-0 mark. The Bobcats met a fired-up Idaho Vandal team in Week 8. Plays by junior middle guard Dave Thompson. The pinpoint passing of Mike Godfrey. And the all-around play of the Bobcat offense helps take the Bobcats to an early lead. After an interception by sophomore Joe Roberts of Missoula, Montana, Tony Bodie scores from 3 yards out to give Montana State a 17-7 lead. A sack by Phil Bruno and Mark Fellows spelled the end of the Bobcats' success as the Vandals strike back. The Bobcats' final score is set up by this Godfrey to Bodie pass. And Mark Carter's 37-yard field goal will be MSU's last points of the game. Junior Fulp and Phil Bruno have big plays. But the Bobcats, who came into the game nationally ranked, have their 5-game winning streak come to an end as Idaho prevails. The 82nd meeting with the University of Montana in Missoula was one with few bright spots for the Bobcats. With the Grizzlies leading 8-0, MSU senior Steve Niksich makes a spectacular interception to stop another threat. The Bobcats then begin a 10-play, 99-yard drive. Godfrey hits Tommy White for 27 yards, and then comes back and finds Pat McLeod for 25 more. Cy Timmerman caps off the drive with a 10-yard run off left tackle. But in the end, it was a long walk across field for Bobcat coach Doug Graber as the University of Montana won the battle of cross-state rivals. The Lumberjacks of Northern Arizona came to town for the Bobcats' final home game of 1982. Mike Godfrey goes right to work hitting Pat McLeod for 12 yards, and then he takes matters into his own hands as he lumbers 20 yards for a first down. Tony Bodie then scores his first of 4 touchdowns on the day. With the offense back at work, Godfrey hits Bodie for 35 yards on a well-executed screen pass. It's up top again as Godfrey passes to Cy Timmerman. Bodie then goes untouched into the Bobcat end zone for his second score. Northern Arizona threatens, but Joe Roberts comes up with a pair of big plays. The Lumberjack drive is stopped as Jim Califat comes up with this interception. Cy Timmerman then carries the Lumberjacks for 15 yards. Mark Carter's 37-yard field goal puts the Cats up 17-6 at halftime. The snow began to fall in the second half as Barry Sullivan picks up 20 yards on this reverse. Godfrey then finds Timmerman for 23 yards. And an apparent touchdown pass from Godfrey to Joe Bignell is called back by a penalty. Not to be denied, Godfrey comes right back, hitting Bodie on a 22-yard screen pass for another Bobcat touchdown. Bobcat defense then comes up with a big play as Cardos and Bruno force an NAU fumble. Not wasting any time, Bodie scores from the 5. In all, the Bremerton Washington senior scored 26 points on the day with 4 touchdowns and this 2-point conversion. The Bobcat linebacker tandem of Jim Califat and Mark Eibner bring a crushing end to Northern Arizona as the Bobcats win 32-19. The Bobcats closed out the season with a tough non-conference loss to the eventual California Bowl winners, Fresno State University. But what a season it was for first-year coach Doug Graber and his Cats. Picked to finish near the bottom of the Big Sky race, the Bobcats battled to the end and won a share of the Big Sky Conference crown. 12 Bobcats earned all conference honors, led by the first-team selections of seniors Phil Bruno and Tony Bodie. Excitement, the Bobcats have it. Future, the best is yet to come.